I'm Todd Stokes with Baker Tilly. I'm here with Debbie Ratner-Salzberg, President of Forest City, Washington. Debbie, we're here at the Capitol Riverfront, specifically the Yards, one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in DC. When you acquired the property in 2004, did you envision it was going to look like this in 2018?
We definitely envisioned it would look like this. We just didn't envision it would happen quite as quickly as it did. When we negotiated for this site, there was no baseball stadium. So we assumed that after NOMA built out and that we would be the next neighborhood to grow because we're very close to the Capitol, and it was just time. But once the baseball stadium was set as our western boundary, time accelerated, and in many respects, we got to move much quicker. The recession also hindered us for a little while, but all in all, there's much more development, much more quickly than we probably anticipated.
When you think about this massive plan for the Yards, are you surprised by how far along you are and all the growth that's happened already?
No, I wish we were even farther along, which we would be but for the recession, because what happened with the recession is we started the building directly behind me, which is Foundry Lofts. And the way our process works is we have to go through remediation first, which is not necessarily normally how this happens. And we can't even get our construction loans started until, in fact, our remediation is signed off on. So we had just started going through remediation, had ordered some of our materials because Foundry Lofts was an adaptive reuse. One by one, our lenders dropped out. I mean, we got a call from Merrill Lynch saying that they were not going to be able to go forward with the loan that they had been discussing with us. Next it was Goldman, and finally it was Citi, at which point we shut down Foundry Lofts project and went back to the city and to Mayor Fenty at the time and said, we have the funding, because it was public funding, we should work on the park because it will employ district residents during a time when there isn't that much going on. So we proceeded with the park, which was not the order this was supposed to unfold, and the park opened. For the first time in the history of Forest City, we had created a place before we had a building. And it was really amazing to watch the park open and to watch people come streaming into our neighborhood.
Was there a moment at the Yards where you thought, this is really working?
It's funny you should ask that. All of a sudden I saw all sorts of people out, people walking to get coffee from the Department of Transportation, mothers running with strollers, I mean, even trash trucks and trucks unloading groceries for things. And I suddenly realized we did it. This is actually a neighborhood. This is a DC neighborhood.
When you think about the entire Yards project, there's lots of housing. Tell us about the affordable housing component.
In all of our rental deals, the arrangement that we made with the city was that we will have 20% of the rental projects affordable to people earning up to 50% of median income. Now, this deal was struck well before IZ. We used the low-income housing tax credits and DC Housing Finance Agency to do this. It's, you know, we build like this around the country, and we think that mixed income is a great product. It creates a diverse community, and I think that's what urban communities are all about. You know, there are a lot of residential units going up. Everyone keeps talking about it. My experience in building cycles is, yes, we tend to build at times. I don't think this is anything like what happened in earlier cycles. I think we are a very hot neighborhood and people still want to live here, and we are leasing up. I will tell you that every winter I sit there and I panic, thinking, is this going to be the year that the leasing isn't going to pick up and we're not going to have a spring pickup? And every year that has not been the case, and quite frankly, this year through the winter, the project that we are leasing up actually is in Southwest. It's called Elliott on 4th, and it's going gangbusters through the winter. So I'm not worried. We are long-term holders of real estate. We will hit some down cycles, but they come back up. So when we were creating a neighborhood, we knew that in DC, people aren't really huge on national chains, but we could have some national chains. But it was really critical, for example, that Michael Babin with Neighborhood Restaurant Group recognized quite early on the beauty of the Boilermaker shops and decided to put Blue Jacket there, a real brewery. And the next, and we knew that we needed as an anchor a local health club, and that was Vita. We knew we needed a restaurant, a really different restaurant, and this was somewhat unusual because we did whatever it took to find restaurants. I actually hired Nick Wiseman and his cousin Dave Wiseman to look for restaurants for us. This was before he had DGS, Whaley's, or Little Sesame. He was a friend of my daughter's. I'd known him for years. He was in the restaurant business, and he had cooked with so many different chefs that we asked Nick and Dave to go into business. And he told the story one day that he apparently went and bought a suit to walk in to interview for this job. But we asked him to go out and find restaurateurs that he'd worked with who might be interested in coming to DC into this location. And he identified and found Osteria Marini, which is a Michael White restaurant out of New York. And between Blue Jacket and Marini, we were suddenly on the map. And Uber knew where to find us, and people were coming, and we have continued to curate.